with the movie here. All right? Now, they took that God out of you, female. They took the power out of you by way of the circumcision. The male circumcision and the female circumcision. By cutting the clitoris, right? They're cutting the sensitivity. Thus, the sensitivity controlling the orgasm. Now, in the male, it works in reverse. All of this is for the purpose, this greater plot now, to produce more beings on the planet Earth. Because the woman, the desire should be, a woman's desire should not be to the husband. Woman should have the desire. Woman should control. Because she gets greater power, she becomes a deity through her menstrual cycle. Right? And that's why we're saying, oh, she's real irritating at that time. She's acting like a bitch at that time. Right? We regress, we use a vulgarity like that, according to y'all, because that's what y'all acting like. But what it is it's straightening out us men. It's not her menstrual cycle, it's her man-straight cycle. She's setting her man straight. She has the power of a deity during that point. You know another point that she has power in? At the orgasm. The orgasm, the female is God. But through the clipping of the clitoris, and they strategically only left a spot open for elimination and menstruation. That's it. That's the only spot that they left open. But like I said earlier, with the man, it was reversed. By cutting the epidermis and exposing the tip of the penis, there's more sensitivity, thus greater pleasure to be felt. The man seeks after the pleasure, not the female. The female is turning into a man, and in turning into a man, she's regressing herself. The woman would be the deity who determines when that is going to happen, because it's for the purpose of procreation. The gods from beyond the stars that gave us the ability to make duplicates of ourselves, the power to be nine, put it in the females. You see that in the book of Genesis when it talks about the sons of God came into the daughters of men. Why the daughters of men is because that's when the God gene was placed. That's when the mitochondrial DNA that produces nearly all the energy to keep the cell alive. We're not even talking about that. We're not even talking about the dominance of the X chromosome. The X chromosome and the Y chromosome, let's deal with mathematics, because in the Nuwapian, we're dealing with ontology. Ontology is dealing with numbers. If you were to take 90 degrees and put it on each one of the points of the X, you would get from 1X, 90, 90, 90, 90. What do we get? 360, right? Now put another X, 90, 90, 90, 90. What do we get? 360, right? Which would be 720. And y'all heard the brother Polite. Y'all supposed to have been shooting off those mathematical figures real early, right? How to calculate math without using a computer? That's right. All right, well, if you didn't get that, he'll be up here to teach it again. All right, but anyway, so you're getting 720 degrees from the X chromosome and the X chromosome, correct? Now, let's do it with the man. One X, you get 360, and then with one point of the Y, you get 90, another point of the Y, you get 90, and then at the last point, you get 90. What do we get? 270, not 360. They're missing another point. So mathematically, we are inferior. Dealing with mathematics. Brothers don't want to hear this now. Because it's hard to get a king off the throne. But it's time for us to give up the throne, because nature will allow us to do this. A woman should be up here teaching this now. Y'all females are supposed to be up here teaching this. But it has to come from a male because of what we dogged you in religion. Go take my bath. Go wash my clothes. A woman's place is in her house. And when she's in her menstruation period, she's supposed to be put up away. Did you know that's going adverse to nature? They'll teach you in Islam that, okay, a woman, she's unclean during her menstrual period. The master teacher explained it to us this way. He likened a woman in menstruation being unclean to your nose. Now, in your nose, you got all kinds of debris up in the nose. They're creating them boogers. Right? You got mucus, right? Even though those people that's on an alkaline diet, you still got the mucus up in your nose. Your nose is still not clean. But a man who has mucus in the nose and boogers in the nose is not considered unclean. Right? Because the nose is a natural mechanism of the body that's going to filter the debris so that you can breathe the negative ions from the air to be revitalized. But yet, you're not considered unclean. You're not considered unclean as a result of that. But yet, the female that goes on the same natural process of cleansing her body, the same way the nose is cleansing the body, she's considered unclean. That's not in accordance with nature. That's outside of nature. That means somebody else had to come in and indoctrinate you with that. So we're past the time of those indoctrinations. So let's get back to the circumcision. Right? Now, how that circumcision with the male, it gives him more sensitivity, greater pleasure. So therefore, we become the Pepe Le Pews. Some of y'all don't know about that cartoon. Pepe Le Pew was the skunk trying to get the cat. But y'all know about the dogs though, right? We become the dogs. And we're chasing after the cat. Because we get the greater pleasure because of the circumcision. The greater sensitivity. Whereas the female, what it's doing, we're dealing with the 4th generation of this now. Well, when this, but the females now that are sitting in this audience, you would be the 5th generation of that. So after these constant generations of clipping the clitoris, your clitoris becomes smaller. It should be elongated more than it is now. You would get greater sensitivity, therefore, in the pleasure, you would be gaining your powers as gods through the orgasm. But generations of this taking place, and we're talking about the advent of this. We're not talking about this just occurring. We're talking about when they started this process, when they started this plot. And this would be the Anakims, who placed themselves in the seat as God. But because of the languages, you don't see them as being draconians. You just look at it as God. Anakims, which if you actually look and see the etymological meanings and how it changes in the Bible, you would be able to see these words. This is what the master teacher, His Excellency Malachi New York, is bringing to our awareness in this day and time. So in this circumcision, what it's eventually doing, it is creating frustrated, angry women. Because she cannot no longer feel her power. And in that anger and frustration, driving the men from the home. And you're creating generations after generations of this. This has to be stopped. We have to be brought into the awareness of this. Thus, the plot of the man seeking the woman and then making more babies in return. Thus, more human beings. This is what the Revelations is talking about, being reap for the harvest. Thrust in thy sickle and pull the sickle out. For the planet Earth is reap. There's humans on the planet Earth reap to be eaten. The same way that we manufacture chickens, the same way that we manufacture turkeys on Thanksgiving, right? We grow turkeys all year, right? For that holiday Thanksgiving that they call Thanksgiving, that they ain't give us nothing. The same way that we eat those beings, those entities, there's other entities eating you. You say, well, God's supposed to help us. Why? You don't help the chickens. That's the argument. You don't help the cows. And for all you vegetarians out there, you don't help the celery. You don't help the tomatoes. They're entities that deserve a right to live based on existence.